Welcome to Midlife Catalyst, a place where ordinary people share extraordinary stories. I'm Amanda Younts, and today's episode is a bit different. And if you know me at all, you will know it is one of my least favorite things to do. But it is where I am going to share my story. On May 30th of this very week, 5 years ago, I made the decision to get sober. And I would not have made that decision and maintained that decision if many people that I respect and admire had not paved the way and shared their story and shown me what was possible. I fully believe in the power of opening your mouth and being of service, not only to others, but to yourself. That when I share my story, I automatically learn something about myself and about my thoughts and beliefs, and it just strengthens my conviction and my choice and my decisions. So with that, I am going to start with the 5 lessons that I have learned in 5 years. Number 1 is my favorite, which is NQTD. Several of the really cool people in the sobriety world have that tattooed on themselves. I just haven't gotten around to getting another tattoo, but I think it's a great idea. NQTD stands for Never Question the Decision. What you will find in most sober circles is that there are a lot of sober slogans and phrases and kind of its own language within the community, as is the case with any close-knit community, that shared common language and vocabulary. There are a lot of little catchy slogans like that, but Never Question the Decision has been my absolute favorite and the one that I repeatedly write down and say to myself to get me through some really hard moments. Honestly, there have been times over the last 5 years where I have started to question and I have started to doubt. And the sooner I can work back into not questioning and not doubting that sobriety is the best choice, decision, way of life for me, then the faster I can move on with whatever it is that I am struggling with. As I have said, life still happens and it still sucks. Bad things, hard things still happen. Extremely unfair things happen. But I am more capable and able to handle them, address them, and move on quicker as I remain sober. And that has been shown to me time and time again, regardless of the situation. What I know is drinking never made it better. It won't make it better. Hence why I don't question the decision not to drink today or any of the previous days of the last 5 years. The faster and quicker I can move on from that and not dwell in it, the more then I can embrace and enjoy life. Number 2, lesson: you don't live there anymore. If you follow my Substack, that was actually the title of several of my first pieces. And it was something Laura McCowan in her books, in her podcasts, and in the community, which I use to get sober, the Luckiest Club, says and writes about over and over and over again. You don't live there anymore. You aren't that person. You aren't the party girl persona. You aren't the dysregulated, drunk, reactive person. And some people will still have you at that address, but you've got to send out that change of address, right? Just like when you move, you notify people and you notify the people that send you bills. Being confident in sending that notification through consistent, esteemable acts, consistent behavior, and having the strength and courage to know you've moved on. Even if other people still live in that neighborhood and would want you to live in that neighborhood, you've moved on. And again, the quicker and sooner you can accept that, repeat that, model that change, the easier it becomes to turn away any distractions, to be able to have responses to those people that really don't accept your decisions or want you to fall back into old habits and ways of being. It's that demonstrated, consistent showing up as the person at the new address with a new way of living. And quite honestly, really within 5 years, pretty much everything changes. The whole house changes. You don't even want, metaphorically and actually physically, the furniture you had, the car you drove. What I found is a lot of things that used to bring me joy don't anymore. New hobbies, new interests, new communities, even new television shows, some of the music and concerts and places I go, restaurants. It's a whole new way of living and being, but it's for the better. It really is a peeling back of all of those layers. And that doesn't happen in year 1, 2, 3. It happens over time, as you start to realign with what's important to you and what matters and what you need to make a life. So that truly is new books, new music, new hairstyle. The things that used to matter really don't anymore. So finding your new address and getting really comfortable with where you're living and making sure that it is designed for you to meet your needs, your desires, your values, and what you want, that it's not someone else's. And even within the sober circle, there are many people in my sobriety community that have much different looking lives than I do. I don't believe we recover the same way. I don't believe that we live the same way. Part of embracing sobriety is embracing your uniqueness. So whatever that looks like for you and getting comfortable and confident in that has really been one of the key aspects for me in my sobriety, which segues to number 3. And that is to keep your side of the street clean. It's another one of those little catchy slogans I put on repeat, because sometimes I really, not out of nosiness, but out of trying to help or trying to make things better for other people, I get out of my lane, and people will tell you I'm obviously a leader, which could be misconstrued as bossy. So I get out of my lane, and sometimes I just want to help people have a more productive, better way of living, but that's their lane and that's their street. I need to focus on my street and keeping that clean. Certainly, if people want my help and seek my input and my opinion, I will provide that, and I will help people in any way that I can, being of service, sharing my story, and helping people really just to become better versions of themselves, not even sobriety focused, but life focused, be it a podcast recommendation, a book recommendation, a course recommendation. I'm always ready, willing, and able to share with people. But I have to focus on me and make sure I'm doing the things that not only keep me physically sober, but emotionally sober. I talk about this a lot in that really after, 6 months, year 1, the physical addiction is gone. The cravings are gone. Are there still temptations? Sure, but nothing like the beginning. It then moves into staying emotionally sober. For me, that is doing the things, my non-negotiables, setting my boundaries around the things that make me well and the things that keep me regulated. And that is my sleep pattern, my diet and nutrition, my meditation, my writing, getting outside, physical activity and movement, connecting with my higher power through the means that work for me. That's how I keep my side of the street clean. I go to meetings, I do reading, I do my journaling, I do those exercises, habits, routines, and rituals that keep me not only well physically, but mentally and emotionally. Therefore, I am a better person, I'm a better employee, I'm a better leader, I'm really a better writer and podcaster. I can think clearer. I have more creativity and better ideas. I'm a better friend. I'm a better partner to other people when I'm focused on me rather than trying to fix them or make them change. So that's me keeping my side of the street clean, disengaging from the negativity and the gossip and the drama, stepping away from the news cycle, the doom scrolling, looking for those motivators, those people that bring positivity to my life, those activities that light me up and bring me energy, help me to focus on me. That's all I can do. And that's really what all we can expect from anyone is the focus on themselves rather than external and what someone else is doing. Number 4, don't quit before the miracle happens. This is certainly something I think that is so critical in the first 3 to 6 months. For me, after month 3, I've said this, months 4 through 6 were absolutely grueling, lots of doubt. The newness had worn off. The fun had worn off, so to speak. Really getting back into life. As you can probably tell from my date, I got sober during the pandemic of 2020. So it was also the time when the world was opening back up and people were returning to in-person school and returning to office, especially in Oklahoma. Red states in the South. I know not everyone did that at that point in time, but we did. And it really kind of made you question, back to number 1, the decision, but also just the slug of, is this it? And that's another kind of question that you come to terms with many times. Is this it? Is this the best life has to offer? Is this the day-to-day, the routine? Is this what we're here for? To wake, go to work, pay bills, sleep, rinse, wash, repeat. That for me is where sticking with it, even in the hard, even in the not so fun, not so glamorous, because the miracle does happen. And the miracle happens not in the big. A few months back in one of our meetings, I really felt for a community member because I had experienced this myself. They had reached the 1-year milestone. People get a little antsy and shaky around major milestones. For me, I will say this entire year, up until the last month, the month of May, which I declared the month of me, this entire year 4 has been shaky for me. There were a lot of life changes, job change, goal, move, a lot of changes. So there were times that I questioned a lot of decisions I made, and that I kept wondering, when is the miracle going to happen? Is this it? Is this all that there is to life? Are we living for retirement? Are we living to, be buried? What is the point of all of this? For me, it's the small miracles. It is why I'm a huge believer of daily gratitude practice, why I love getting outside and appreciating everything we have in nature, and the small joys in life are the miracle. It's not the big trips. It's not the fancy purchases or even the big things. I love doing those things, but in every one of my trips, being able to take a walk along the ocean or a walk in Central Park, walking the Freedom Trail, those are the things that I have found to be the miracle of community, enjoying nature, clearing my head, breathing, appreciating life and all that there is, and all of the things that we can enjoy. Those are really things that I took for granted for many, many years, not even around drinking. I ran a lot of half marathons, and they were very time driven to where I wasn't stopping, so to speak, and smelling the flowers. I would not stop at a race and take a picture of the sunrise because it was going to add 3 seconds to my time. I was so performative driven that I wasn't stopping and noticing the beauty and the miracles along the path. And when I flipped that script, everything became more enjoyable and less punishing, and just really helping me to connect to myself and to better understand who I was and what I wanted. So the miracles are in the small things, the little things. Really, it's those moments over metrics, and that, I'm not running a under 2-hour half marathon, but I'm appreciating the moment of seeing the sunrise over the ocean. And it's actions over words and goals. It's what am I doing? How am I behaving? How do I consistently behave and show up, not only for myself, but for others, to where I hold myself in high regard with dignity and respect. I notice others and can be appreciative of what I have. Taking the time to enjoy that morning coffee, to sit down with a friend and just catch up and share the deep experiences of life. I'm a huge sunrise and sunset chaser now. What's interesting about that is even when I was drinking, I would wake before most everyone else and be up with the sunrise, but it was really just to kind of move the day along to get to the next drink. Or I would reflect, but I wouldn't do anything with it. And now I reflect and then I go write or create something to share with someone else. And that's really the miracle in it all, those moments. Lastly, there are so many tips, but number 5, it's an inside job. One of the 9 things of the Luckiest Club is that only you can do it. You can't do it alone. I tried many times to stop drinking, not necessarily to get sober on my own. But it was not until I responded to an email that I'd gotten from the Luckiest Club, because I had gotten on Laura's email list. I had purchased her book and got an email about a new group starting up of Zoom meetings because in-person meetings had shut down in 2020. I truly said, do it for a month. What can it hurt? It was Zoom. You don't even have to show your face on camera. You don't have to speak to anybody. The community was so welcoming that it instantly wanted to turn on my camera and wanted to reach out to people and started to build community. And I had no idea that that was the missing link. So I had to make the decision to try something new and to try something different, even when other people had pretty consistently over the course of 4 to 5 years that I talked about cutting back drinking, stopping drinking, said I would never do it, said it wouldn't happen, said I was wasting my time, said, why don't you just drink less? Until I made the decision and listened to my gut and my intuition, because that voice had been telling me for years that I had a problem. I knew I drank differently than other people. I really didn't realize it, how much so, until I really like a year in, until I really stopped. The great measure I say now is I love a good non-alcoholic beer. I can have about 2 or 3 and then I'm done. That is a concept I would have never understood if it had been an alcoholic beer. I would have had 23 and never been done. So it's so weird that other people don't experience that. I didn't truly understand what was meant by normal drinking until I would have a non-alcoholic beer, and then I would be able to go, I don't want 6 of these. I want like 2, and then I'm good. Oh, this is how like normal people drink. No concept of that. And it's real. So if you think people can control it, they cannot. I'm not really going to get into if it's genetic, environmental, hereditary, a disease, any of those things. I think in some aspect, it's all of the above. But I can tell you, it absolutely controlled every thought in my head. And what I didn't realize is other people didn't have those thoughts racing through their head of when their next drink was going to be, anxiety that surrounded that. And the anxiety and the internal scripts, the depression that came with that. So no one is coming to save you. Honestly, a lot of people, as I said, even though they may want you to cut back, they still want you to live in the neighborhood. So no one is coming to save you. It's an inside job. You have to decide to do it. Follow your gut and your intuition. I say this, you follow it and you take action and it doesn't work for you, you can always go back. But until you try something and really show up and give it the attention and your effort, you don't know if it's going to work or if it's something you need to do or change. So getting into action, taking those steps is really important. As I've said, how do I think you get to that point? I really have never found that a rock bottom moment motivates people. I think the motivation is truly getting sick of your own bullshit. I say it over and over. I don't think long term a scare tactic works. Certainly, I had some health problems. I'd had acid reflux to the point that I threw up every morning for many years. And even a doctor did not tell me to stop drinking. So I have a lot of thoughts and input on that, but that's not for this podcast. I had neuropathy, extremely high blood pressure, woke up at 2 to 3 a.m. every morning with racing thoughts, anxiety, depression, night sweats. The neuropathy really was probably the one when it started in my feet, my legs, my arms, that sitting in an apartment by yourself in the middle of a pandemic, you kind of realize you could die in here alone and no one's going to find you. And is that really the way you want to go out in the life you want to live? So I got sick of my own bullshit. A doctor didn't tell me to stop. An employer didn't tell me to stop. The legal system didn't tell me to stop. It was me. There was just my own exhaustion from those feelings. So I think you know when it's time, and you may not get there in the first attempt. I had many dry Januaries, days, and I think all of that leads up to where you're ultimately going. So I don't dispute anyone, any time that they have. I think any time that you start and you're attempting to live a healthier, sober life is important and valuable. And I don't discount those experiences. I am certainly a big believer in harm reduction if it's necessary. And I think in any way possible, there is a difference, I believe, in harm reduction versus kind of negotiating and setting rules. But I think you do whatever you have to do to get to a healthier point, and it will eventually kick in. I don't believe in one system. I don't believe in one program. I think a lot of programs have value, and you find the community and the people and the structure that works for you. Certainly over time, I do believe you've got to seek some other things to keep you going. So I don't disparage a program. AA was not something that was going to work for me, but I have in recent years adopted many AA practices. I've done a lot of work in Al-Anon and certainly see the benefit in a 12-step recovery, not just for alcohol addiction. You find what works for you in whatever way, shape, or form that works for you, and that's how you keep your side of the street clean. A couple of parting thoughts is, along with keeping your side of the street clean, other people's opinion of you is none of your business. I like that statement. It is interesting that at times people tend to offer their opinion, especially the more vocal and public you are about whatever change or initiative you're taking. People will offer their opinion even if you're not seeking it. So it is a technique that I learned long ago as being an educator, Q-tip, and quit taking things personally. What people say and do is a reflection of them, not of you. But I do know the challenge and the difficulty when people offer opinions on your life. And I think that coincides with the you don't live there anymore. It's really hard for people to change what their version of who you are and your identity is. But you can do that. You can change that through your actions, how you refer to yourself, how you see yourself. That really comes with time, faith, trust, confidence, and belief in yourself. The more you get that, the more you surround yourself with people that lift you up, that support your decisions, that support changes, the stronger that's going to become. And the more you're going to be able to tune out the critics and the opinions and stand in confidence and conviction in your choices and decisions. For me, continuing to stay the course just builds more confidence and trust in myself to where I know I can handle whatever life throws at me because I got sober in a pandemic. I don't really know what more can happen that's going to really challenge my resolve. That was a year after I'd lost all my family. So I say this, I had two directions to go. And I made the choice to go in a direction that wasn't easy. It certainly was hard and wasn't expected, but it's been the greatest decision of my life. And what I will say is, as hard as this year has been, when I hit May 1st, a level of confidence and ease washed over me. Because like I said, I can handle anything as long as I stay sober. I have honestly had the best month. It's kind of like it really is your birthday. Like I said earlier, no one is going to throw you a party. No one is going to buy you a cake or get you flowers or have a parade. So you do it for yourself. And I've done that. I've gone to concerts and sporting events that bring me so much joy and are the things that I love to do. I've kind of made my own celebration this month and celebrated all month long. I think that's important. I found a lot of joy and happiness in doing those things, and really a lot of confidence in moving forward and trusting myself. That concludes my 5 lessons in 5 years. Never question the decision. You don't live there anymore. Keep your side of the street clean. Don't quit before the miracle happens. And it's an inside job. Those are my 5 tips. I can certainly offer more, but in keeping with the theme and with one episode, I am so grateful to the listeners of the Midlife Catalyst podcast and for being able to share my story from just an ordinary person and my lived experiences. If you like this episode, be sure to share it with a friend, leave a review, a like, or a comment on Spotify, YouTube, and be sure to follow my Substack page, amandayounts.substack.com, where I include a lot of resources and references that I have used over the last 5 years to help me stay sober. Thank you for joining me, and I am beyond grateful for the opportunity to live an authentic life that I truly love. While every day is not easy and hard things still happen, I know that as long as I do the work and keep my side of the street clean, that I can face anything. Thank you for joining the Midlife Catalyst podcast. I'm Amanda Younts, a sober, dignified human celebrating 5 years of sobriety and who fully embraces my life and my life in recovery.